Hi, everybody. This is Steve Maggi from SMA Law Firm. Welcome to Building the Bridge. I have the pleasure of having with me today Charlotte Nytoft, Strategic Export Advisor working with European companies launching U.S. operations. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so very much, Steve. Pleasure.
So something that comes up more and more in what we do is intellectual property. And people have different concepts of what that is depending on where they're from. What is the importance of IP protection when launching U.S. operations?
I cannot stress enough how important it is to actually really have your IP rights under control, even before you launch on the US market. The very moment you actually go to a trade show, you start handing out information about your product. The very first fact-finding attempts you're doing on the US market. At that point, you really need to have your IP rights under control to maintain your freedom to operate. What I see oftentimes happening with the European companies is that there is actually quite a time lag from the very early initiatives and until they actually go to the United States and do it. Usually they go to a trade show, they talk to people, which is a really good idea because that's what I always recommend people to do, to go and talk to customers and go and talk to all kinds of stakeholders in the value chain before they actually, to understand the market before they actually just launch on the US market.
Of course.
But what you really need to understand is, because there's this time lag, if you have been talking to somebody who actually see this as a perfect idea, they have all the time in the world to actually go and with bad intention actually maybe register your trademark because they find out that you have not done that, and they're just waiting until you're actually launching, or you might even arrive in the United States ready to start your operation and not even be able to actually sell your own products under your own trademark, or what you think is your own trademark.
Or having to already think about litigation or getting an attorney to protect those rights or to fight for them, right? I spoke with an IP attorney and he said that you need to protect things as soon as you become known in a specific market. And so attending a trade show and handing out information obviously is a clear example that you're exposing yourself to people who would appreciate what you do, what your service or products are, and would understand that if they can grab those from you because you don't have those protections, that they're capable of doing that.
Exactly. I have one of my would say favorite examples. I don't really know if that's the right word, because one of the sad favorite examples are a company from Denmark that launched in the United States. They have gotten the visa for the US sales manager. He had moved to the United States. He had set up with his wife, and they bought furniture for the house and whatnot. And only after that had happened to actually figure out that they were not even able to sell their products on the US market, and that's a public case, so that is not something that is any secret. And it was even not one of these cases, because we have also two kinds of these cases. People that are snatching up a trademark because they see that will be of value at someday when the company launches, and then they start registering trademarks and whatnot. But this was actually by such a random coincidence, a company had operated on the United States market for several years in somewhat related products and industries. Mm-hmm. So there was absolutely nothing they could do. So they basically had to pack up again, send the container back to Denmark, and give up on the US market. I cannot even imagine how much money that have been out of pocket for absolutely nothing.
They say a penny wise, a pound foolish. I see
exactly.
This all the time. And we do have certain cultures in Europe that are a little stingier than others. And it's not just a stereotype, but you see it in business practices, always trying to minimize costs to expand the margins as much as possible, but cutting corners when it comes to running a US operation or launching, especially in the prevention phase. We're not talking about a lot of money to hire an IP attorney to do the searches and be exhaustive and make sure that this will be okay and there won't be barriers in place, and put in those protections, right?
Exactly. I actually sometimes you can say compare this to your home. You have a alarm at your home, and as soon as the alarm company have been there and installed the alarm, you either get a sign to put in your front yard, or you get a little sticker to put in your window, and you have the alarm, and you really hope that you will never need to use it, that it will actually sit there and be never enforced at some point, because that's really what happens. And that is sort of the same with the IP rights. The fact that you are able to actually put the circle R behind your brand, your tagline, your logo or whatnot, that is sort of from my point of view, it's sort of the sign, stay away. We have things under control. So it's this preventive maintenance, so to speak, to actually make sure that nobody is coming at you with bad intentions. So
I think it also
yeah.
is, it signals to other competitors as well as
Mm,
potential collaborators in the US that you're serious, right? If you have
exactly.
the TM and the copyright, and you have all those protections in place, the patents obviously are very
Mm,
important,
yeah.
that you're really 100% in and you're not improvising. Because if you project a vibe of I'm improvising and I'm just coming to this trade show for fun and seeing if some magical venture capital firm will back me, that's not going to happen unless you have
No.
all your I's dotted and your T's crossed, right?
Exactly. So yeah, so it is one of the things that I can't stress enough for European companies. They need to have these things under control, and it's so interesting because a lot of companies are really, you can say, afraid of the United States. What can happen? Will we get a lawsuit and all these things? And if they use the same amount of time actually understanding the market and protecting their rights as they do being concerned about potential lawsuits, then we were at a good place. But it's interesting to see how people are actually downtoning the importance of working with trademarks. I've actually also heard a number of companies say, yeah, we haven't registered our trademark, but we have the website, the URL, that's ours. And I said, yeah, that doesn't really help anything. So you don't, it is an absolute misconception that because you have bought the URL, the website .com, .us, whatever, and that is any protection. That has nothing to do with protecting your IP rights.
It's all about doing things 100%. If you want to maximize your chance of success in any market, especially
Yeah.
one that's intimidating and as diverse as the US market, you have to go all in, right?
Exactly. And actually also by registering your trademark, you can actually have a really good service by the US Customs and Border Protection of having them overlook counterfeit products that will be imported under what is supposed to be your name. So that is that service alone is so much worth it. So that alone is absolutely worth going through the work of having your trademarks and your brand and so on registered. So yeah.
Although, if someone wants to inquire about how to get these IP protections in place or just preventative measures for launching US operations, how do they get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me by connecting on LinkedIn, or they can send me an email, which is charlotte@exportacrossthepond.com, and then we'll be in touch.
Okay. Thank you for your time and for your knowledge today. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you so very much, Steve.